In 21st century North America, a complex and wide-ranging infrastructure is critical for the normal function of everyday life. Those charged with building, maintaining, and revitalizing this infrastructure are increasingly turning to one company for strategic solutions, Ulteig. With deep roots in the power industry, Ulteig has grown to offer comprehensive design engineering, program management, and technical and field services. Today, we serve what we call the lifeline sectors, including power, renewables, transportation, and water. Ulteig brings a solutions-focused approach to bear, a unique set of proven capabilities offered through a highly collaborative process. But our most important resources are our values, our culture, and our people. We listen, we solve.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the video presentation for the Hutchinson County County-wide Sign Replacement Project Kickoff. My name is Chad Stensland, and I am with Ulteig Engineers. We've been hired by the South Dakota Department of Transportation to administer and design this project. What is the County-wide Sign Replacement Project? It is a project run out of the DOT Local Government Assistance Office in Pierre. It uses federal safety funds to assist local counties, townships, and towns in replacing and upgrading their existing street signs to current standards outlined in the Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices, also more commonly called the MUTCD. The federal government mandated compliance with the MUTCD back in 2009, and all government agencies have been required to put in place plans to replace all their existing signs to follow new retroreflectivity guidelines. These new retroreflectivity guidelines improve roadway safety and, in turn, limit the liability of the county, towns, and townships. Retroreflectivity is important because of the improvement in visibility at night. Although only 25% of travel takes place in dark conditions, 50% of the crashes take place in the dark. Improvements in retroreflectivity can contribute to increased safety for drivers. Retroreflectivity is the property of traffic signs that reflects light back to the driver. The higher the retroreflectivity of a sign, the easier it is for it to be seen from farther away. As part of the South Dakota's DOT sign replacement program, the signs are not just replaced with newer signs with improved retroreflectivity. The program mandates that we, the designers, also bring all the roads in the participating areas up to full compliance with the following manuals and standards. This is also a function of the requirement of the federal safety funding. For example, the following are a couple of the manuals and guidelines that we must follow when designing this project. The Manual for Uniform Traffic Control Devices, or MUTCD, the South Dakota DOT Sign Delineation Design Manual, the South Dakota DOT Standard Specifications for Roads and Bridges, the South Dakota DOT Road Design Manual, the South Dakota DOT Local Roads Plan, and the South Dakota Codified Law. So what is it that we do? We do not go out and try to put every sign possible on your roads. We know the funding challenges your organizations face. However, we are bound by the guidance in the previously mentioned manuals and specifications. There is some flexibility in the program to try to fit in with your township, towns, and counties, but we cannot violate these standards. Here are some examples of some of the things that we will be evaluating and adding to your township, town, or county road. New street signs will be installed 12 feet from the edge of the road, with the sign 5 feet above the edge. In towns where there is curb and gutter, the sign will be installed 2 feet behind the face of curb and 7 feet above the top of curb. Type 2 object markers are installed by hazards in the right-of-way. Items like culverts and guy wires, rural water valves, and hydrants are all examples of things we would put an object marker by. When object markers are close to the roadway, we install them lower than we do in the ditch, so they do not get in the way of farm equipment. Delineators include double-sided white diamonds on posts or round reflective markers. They are used on the outsides of curves, hazards close to the edge of the road, structures, or large radii at intersections. Structure delineation is the type of delineation you will not see often on the roads. This type of delineation is only installed on DOT numbered bridges without guardrail. When guardrail is present, those locations get a different type of white marker. Like with object markers, delineators that are close to the roadway will be installed lower than they would further down in the ditch, so they don't get in the way of wide farm equipment. As mentioned before, bridges with guardrail will have another type of delineator installed on them to make them more visible. They will also get reflectorized end markers installed at the ends of the guardrail. When guardrail is not present at the bridge structures, either Type 2 or Type 3 object markers will be installed. If the bridge is narrower than the roadway, then Type 3 markers will be installed. If the bridge is the same width or wider than the roadway, then Type 2 markers will be used. Since these are close to the roadway, the Type 2 object markers will be installed shorter, like previously mentioned. The Type 3 markers will remain tall, but they are on flexible mounts that allow for the object markers to be folded down when necessary. Type 4 object markers are the red diamond signs. They are typically installed in sets of 3, and they indicate the end of a roadway. When there is a more substantial or more dangerous hazard ahead, Type 3 barricades are installed the full width of the roadway to ensure vehicles cannot continue. These are typically used with washout roads or bridges that are closed. One of the places where you're likely to see big change is around the curves and turns. All curves and turns on county and township roads will be ball banked. Ball banking is a technique where the safe speed to negotiate a turn can be determined. These ball bank speeds, in conjunction with the radius of the curve, are what determine what kinds of signs and delineators are needed. Township roads will likely see the biggest change when it comes to curves and turns. Street name signs throughout the county will be replaced as part of this project. The size of the signs will increase to improve visibility. They will be 12 inches tall in the county and 9 inches tall in the towns, and will consist of 2 signs mounted back to back. Installation locations of these signs will vary depending upon the right-of-way that they are in. The county, township, and towns will be coordinated with to ensure proper spelling and that suffixes and abbreviations are correct. All spellings will be checked with the local agency for accuracy. One of the last changes you are likely to notice has to do with the signage in uncontrolled intersections that have seasonal site obstructions. Tall corn in the fields in the fall is an example of a seasonal site obstruction. South Dakota codified law states that when a driver's view is obstructed at an intersection, that the minimum lawful speed is to be 15 miles per hour. This would mean that if there is an agricultural crop in even one corner of an intersection, then a year-round speed limit for that intersection shall be 15 miles per hour and should be signed as such. However, the preferred alternative in these situations is to install a set of yield signs. The yield direction will be at the discretion of the township. This eliminates the need for multiple year-round speed limit signs at each intersection with adjacent cultivation. This will not need to be done if there's already stop signs at an intersection or if there's a permanent site obstruction that would require a set of new stop signs. Per federal highway guidelines, non-standard signs cannot be reinstalled as a part of the sign replacement program. Now, on to what we need from you. We have provided you with a packet of information that includes a map of your township or town for you to mark up with the following items, such as speed zones, minimum no maintenance roads, vacated and closed roadways, school zones and bus stops, truck routes, and for the townships, any maintenance agreements with adjacent townships. This information is essential to us doing our job right. No one knows your roads better than you. When marking speed zones on the map, please be clear where the beginning and end points are. Since speed zone signs are regulatory, backup documentation such as city ordinance or township resolutions need to be supplied, or any existing speed limit signs will be removed and not replaced. Minimum and no maintenance roads should be identified on the maps. These too need to have backup documentation consisting of township resolutions. Without the township resolutions, any existing no and minimum maintenance signs will be removed and not replaced. Unlike minimum and no maintenance roads, vacated roads are no longer right-of-way and are not signed. However, we do need documentation of the vacation of the right-of-way. Roadway vacations are commonly recorded with the county. Closed roads will also require resolutions from the township stating that the road is closed and what the limits of that closure is. In towns, existing safe routes to school and any crossings that are not already marked with school zone signage should be noted in the maps. If there are any old, unneeded school bus stop warning signs, those should be marked for removal. If there are any new locations, those should also be indicated on the maps. Neither of these require any backup documentation to be provided. In towns, identify on the map which roads are truck routes and any streets where the trucks are not allowed. The border road maintenance agreements are important to identify, so when we do our design, we know who has decision authority for the signs on those roads. It's also very important to know these agreements if your township is a county border township. This project has no authority over the signs in other counties. We do not require any additional backup information, but we will be cross-checking with adjacent townships, and if any discrepancies are found, we will contact both townships for clarification. Thank you for taking time out of your day to view the Han County Sign Replacement Project kickoff presentation. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact us through the email and phone number contact information included in the emails and the website.